Hey guys, Luke and I'm here to do a video and going over round 25 2015 NRL Premiership season. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a preview, hopefully not going on too long, but yeah, let's start off with the Rabbitohs taking on the Broncos. Now this is an interesting game just due to the fact that the results from last week, some injuries, and I gotta say both teams I thought sucked last week. Broncos for different reasons to the Rabbitohs. Obviously Rabbitohs just completely dominated by the Bulldogs from start to finish, let's be honest there. Bulldogs all over him, and I'm sure I'm a Bulldogs supporter, but I'm sure a lot of people who don't even like the Bulldogs can admit just way better than the Rabbitohs. And Inglis being out now confirms to me that Rabbitohs are gone for the season probably. I think without Inglis, there's no Sam Burgess there to carry them at the moment. Although Kiri coming back in and Isaac Luke will be huge inclusions. It's always Glenn Stewart starting. There's a few positives come into the side, but I'd say mostly negatives at this stage. But they do need to win. They need to win. They need to make at least get a little bit of momentum going to the finals to at least form some sort of chance. Broncos, the same thing. I think they've been pretty crap over the last month. I think they've got the one win, one out of the last four maybe. I could be wrong with there, but their win-loss has not been great for the last month or so. And last week I thought they were quite poor against a depleted Roosters side. I mean, Roosters lost Pearce and Hargraves midway through a game, which is way hard to recover from that. I mean, at least if they're injured ahead of time, you've already got a replacement in there. You can adjust to that. But midway through a game, losing your half and losing your most dominant forward, something you shouldn't be able to win with against a side like Broncos, who are coming equal first, I think. So, Broncos very, very disappointing. But it kind of just confirms that they're the pretenders that I think a lot of people thought they were, including myself. Haven't really been impressed with Broncos throughout the season. They just kept winning somehow, and it's all sort of come undone at this stage. In terms of who I think is going to win, I'll say Broncos because I think they're, you would thought last week they would have won less depleted, but I think they've shown more than the Rabbitohs, to be honest with you. But I'm going to say 1-12. I mean, I don't really care who wins this game. They're both pretty shit, to be honest with you. Seagulls and Roosters. I think Roosters should win this one well. Due to the fact, I know it's at Brookvale, so Seagulls, they might not appear that they have a lot to play for. They do, due to the fact that it's Tuvi's last home game for the season for them, as they're not going to be making the 8. They were horrible last week. They sucked, couldn't hold the ball. Roosters were, they did what they had to do. They weren't outstanding. I thought Hastings actually did a pretty good job in there. How much they missed Pearce, not really sure, but Hastings can probably do an okay job. The real big loss for me will be Hargraves. He's been absolutely dominant the last few weeks. Big loss for them. In terms of who I think is going to win, I think it's going to be Roosters. And I think it'll be 1-12. I think it'll be a tight one. I think Seagulls really get up for this game. But yeah, I think Roosters will end up with a win. Next game is Eels and Sharks. Interesting one. Obviously, Eels won last week. Sharks keep on winning. As a Bulldogs fan, need them to lose. I want a top 4 spot. So hopefully the Eels can get the job done. Hopefully they can take that confidence from last week beating the Seagulls. Go ahead and give the Sharks a bit of a touch-up. However, realistically, not going to happen. You think Sharks will be able to tough this one out and pick up a win. I go 13+. Just Eels hot and cold. They had their win last week. Probably not going to be able to repeat the performance this week. Moving on to Knights and the Bulldogs, which this is, as a Bulldogs fan, somewhat of a bogey side for us, the Knights. I think they're a bogey side for a few people, including the Storm, as we saw last week. Knights pretty good last week. Bulldogs outstanding last week. Should make for an interesting game. Obviously, if both sides are at their best, I think Bulldogs should absolutely destroy the Knights. In saying that, though, we haven't, and I think this is the old... I can't remember what it's called, but pretty much the former Players' Day for the Knights. It's called old something, I don't know. I think key matchups here will be the centres, to be honest with you. Whoever's up against Sandy Mataudia will have to absolutely rip him to shreds because he can't defend. And also Kurt Gidley, Tyron Roberts, not the best halves pairing, and Moses and Brian Hogginson are in great form. I'm expecting a 13+ victory for the Bulldogs and continue our roll into the finals and maybe get a top 4 spot potentially. now we got a really interesting game here. Storm taking on the Cowboys. Obviously, Storm played pretty bad last week. Cowboys pretty good. Although they had a few key players missing, getting injured in the game, who will be missing this week. That being Michael Morgan and James Tamu. I think they can deal with. Ben Hennett just moving to the starting side, but interesting to see how they deal without Michael Morgan. Thankfully for them, doesn't seem to be that bad. He'll be back in a few weeks, so nothing too dramatic or anything. But Ray Thompson's a pretty solid player. I suppose he can come in and do the job for a few weeks. But yeah, Storm be really looking to bounce back after a poor performance last week, and they want to keep up their charge for a top 4. Hopefully they can't. Hopefully Cowboys can put it to rest and do us a favour for the Bulldogs. In terms of who I think is going to win, Cowboys 13+. Moving on to Tigers and the Warriors. Another interesting one. Both sides pretty shit, to be totally honest with you. I think Tigers are a bit less shit at this stage. Lolohea and Lino, very inexperienced. Lino's the little Asian sort of guy, isn't he? I think that's him. I didn't see last week, but I saw parts of it. I think he came in late. Tompkins not really doing too much. Orwood onto the wing. It just Warriors without Johnson, they just look so lackluster, to be honest with you. It's just not good. Also, no Madalino as well, who I think is probably their best forward. Yeah, it's just not looking good. And Tigers at home, Tedesco can probably carry them over the line along with Woods and Tapau, I reckon. I will say 1-12 though, because just be safe. Moving on to the second last game, which is Titans and the Dragons. Now, Dragons probably got a top 8 spot. It's theirs to lose pretty much, but man, they went pretty close to throwing that game away last week. I thought they were very, very shit. It was such a shit game. To be honest with you, I didn't watch it at the time, but this is from all reports. It was very, very shit. The bits and pieces I saw was boring as hell. That's why I didn't watch it. And when I did other stuff after watching the first 20 minutes, I was just bored to death. Titans played the Raiders. Raiders pretty shit. We'll get to them a bit later. Yeah, I wasn't particularly impressed with the Titans either. I thought ball security was very, very, very poor. So many dumb errors. They had all the field position in the world, and they just seemed to not be able to score. I know in the end they eventually ran away with it, but for a good part of the game, they just kept doing dumb passes, and a lot of it was forwards throwing to other forwards. And I thought LG maybe. I know he had to do it himself a fair bit with obviously Dave Taylor was named at 5'8". I think it was more Greg Bird played 5'8" for the whole 3 minutes he was on, and then I think Mortimer or someone ended up at 5'8". That I'm pretty sure Dave Taylor didn't play 5'8", but he was shit. I don't know. I just feel Titans' whole strategy is throw it to James Roberts and hope for the best. To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not really that impressed. I thought LG was okay. At times, he looks like a superstar. And then other times, you're like, oh, there's the inexperience. But you just got to take the good with the bad with young players like him. Dragons, though, obviously, they got a better side, I think, overall. And they really should be winning this game. Whether they do is another thing. But you'd have to expect Dragons to come out and win. They've got way more to play for. And, they just got a better side overall, in my opinion. I will say, if I had to make a prediction, I'm going to say Dragons 13+, because I think they'll just be too strong. The Dragons don't tend to score that many points. I feel like they might put a bit of a score on the Titans. But who knows? Titans could come out and have another upset victory. I wouldn't put it past them. Now moving on to the last game, which is Raiders and the Panthers. Now this is going to be a bit of a bludger, I think. Both sides not much to play for, or nothing to play for actually. Some injuries to the sides. Joseph Leilua, got to be one of the dumbest players I've ever seen. Shoulder charge, and again after just coming back from a shoulder charge, and that brings in Branko Lee. I haven't seen too much of Branko Lee, but a lot of big raps on him from the last few years. I think it sort of died down a little bit, but yeah, back in the day, meaning last year, there are a lot of talks about him being some superstar. I mean, he's still young, but it'd be interesting to see how he goes. His cousin Edric, obviously on the wing, being really, really good this year. Blake Austin, I thought he was pretty poor last week, if I'm honest, and Sam Williams was diabolical. It was awful. One of the worst kicking performances I've ever seen. I'm not talking about overall Sam Williams, but I'm talking about last week. That was horrendous. absolutely terrible. I'm not sure if Josh Hodgson got hurt last week or something. It seemed Baptiste, after not playing for like 2 weeks straight, played a huge amount of minutes. Shillington, just so frustrating. Shillington, because you know he's a good player, because he'll play good for 80% of the time, and then he'll just throw stupid little offloads that lead to tries and do some absolutely the dumbest things you ever seen to just undo everything that he's done well. I think Paul Vaughan's their best forward, as well as like Papali and that. The Raiders got a lot of good players, but as do Panthers. Panthers quite young though, so a bit of inexperience. I really don't know what's to go with Panthers not picking Seguiero to start all the time. Like, he should be guaranteed your hooker. I know Coruscant is he's an okay player, but he has to be the hooker. He was hooker of the year last year. You need to give him a bit of time with the consistency, like get a consistent run of games. Because Seguiero can be absolutely he's unplayable at times. Yeah, if the Panthers turn up ready to go, I think they can absolutely beat the shit out of Raiders. I think they've definitely got the ability. Seguiero and Jamie Soward's kicking game. You get Bryce Cartwright and Tyrone Peachey quite skillful. But at the same time, Raiders, if it gets into a real forward battle, Raiders will win. If it doesn't, Panthers are allowed to play a bit attacking sort of game, then they'll win. I think. Who I'm going to pick, I think I'll go with Raiders, just due to the fact that they're the home side, and I don't know, they've been more consistent throughout the year. Although, if we're talking about being consistent, they'll probably end up 1 point ahead with like 5 minutes to go and then concede a try or something. That's what they've done consistently this year. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you can leave a like, we very much appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel, and just so you know, you don't have to agree with what I say, but don't be an asshole about it. Yeah, leave your predictions in the comment section below, and I'll definitely reply to you and have a little bit of a discussion maybe. And you can follow me on Twitter at MrLukeNYT if you would like. And I've got a Facebook page in the description below, which I'll reply to all my stuff there as well. If you want to message or leave a comment or something, that sort of stuff. And everything I write on Twitter gets dropped onto the Facebook feed as well. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.